Hey guys, Board Bob here. So we're going to go ahead and touch on decider combinators today as part of our tutorial thing. So what we've got here is we've got some chests, we've got a decider combinator, we've got a light, and we've got a telephone pole. Now I'm using green wires today as opposed to red wires just for the sake of variety. It doesn't matter. You can use green or red. This is just to show you can use either one. So we've got all of our chests tied into the input side of our decider combinator. We've got our light and our pole tied into the output side of our decider combinator, and the pole is going to let us be able to look at the signal. So with our decider combinator, we have all of the basic functions, all of the basic summation, I guess, if you will, or whatever functions of math. We've got greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So if we go over here to our light and we tell our light we're looking for stone, and if our stone output is greater than 1, all right, our light's going to turn on. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to say stone here. If our input for stone, we'll start with greater than 20. We're going to output the count of stone, right? So right now there's nothing coming in, so we have nothing going out. Our count is not going to turn this on. If we put 5 in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we go to our next chest and we put in 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our next chest and put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now each of these only has 5 in it, but they've got that stone, but they only have 5. If you look at our signal over here, it says our input signal is 15. Because they're all connected to the same input, it's going to take the total of this. It's not going to take each chest individually. It's going to take the total of this is 15. So any chest that we put 5 more in, let's move up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 20. 6 is 21. Our light turns on, right? Because it's greater than 20. If we go less than 20, obviously, our light turns off because we've got 21. If we take away, right, that's 20. One more is 19. The light turns on, right? Because we're less than 20. No brainer with both of those. All right. So if we go to equal to, right, and we put in 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right. 19 is not 20. 20 is 20. The light comes on. 21 is not 20, so it doesn't equal 20 anymore. The light turns off, right? Pretty simple, straightforward. Greater than or equal to, the same thing. If we put in, there's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, turns on. Keep putting in, it doesn't care because it's set to greater than or equal to. It'll keep right on going. Same thing if we are less than or equal to. So 25, 12, less than, right, on down the line. If we go to not equal to, anything that is not 20 will let a signal through. Now, since this is set to stone, even though there's a signal coming through, the signal is 0 stone, so it's not going to turn it on. But as soon as we put 1 in, right, now we've got 2 because this is set to greater than 1. All right, so it's not 20, so it's going to stay on, right? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. As soon as it goes to 20, it turns off. 21, it turns back on. So it's basically just your standard mathematical functions, right? Until we get to the wildcards. Now there are 3 wildcard conditions that you can have, and this is where it gets a little weird. You have an everything wildcard, you have an anything wildcard, and you have an each wildcard, right? So if the signal input meets the condition, it would output true. It is true when there are no inputs. Now keep that second part in mind, because if we say green 1, right, and we tell this signal green equals 1, right, turn on when signal equals 1. And we set this to everything. As soon as we set this, let's move up a little bit so we can see. We set this to everything, even though there is nothing here, it's going to say true because there are no inputs, even though it's supposed to only turn on when it's 20. It's something weird about the way these are made. I don't know why it does it. It makes sense to me that if it's less than 20, it's less than 20, don't turn on. But if there are no inputs, I guess it sees it as infinite, and it turns it on. All right. So if everything is greater than 20, let's do this. Let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We got 3 different things here. 5, 10, 15 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 20, 21, right? Don't make the mistake of thinking that it's going to total everything up and that's going to come on. What it means is every one of these has to be more than 20. So if we put in 100 here, we put in 50 here, we're still only at 11 here. That's not going to turn on. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, right? Everything has to be greater than 20 for this to turn on, because we're set to everything greater than 20. Now if there's only 2 things, we took that away, but this is greater than 20, this is greater than 20. All it's looking at is what's there. It doesn't care that there's nothing here anymore. But if it's only one of these, it does care, because there is something there, and everything is not equal to 20. One of them is only 1. Okay, so that's how the everything works on the input. Next one we have is well, let's cover the everything on the output too. All right, if you've got an everything set as your wildcard condition for your input, you can use the wildcard everything as the output. And what it will do, and you can pick any of the items that you have, right? Excuse me. If I put 50 in here and I put 50 in here, now it's going to look for the stone, right? So our stone is over 50. If I put one in here, obviously it's not going to turn on yet. If we put 20 in here, it's not going to turn on yet. And if we look at our poll, we don't have anything. If we put 21 in here, oh, because I have this set to 1, not input count. Okay, let's go back and let me show you what I mean. Okay, so we got 20, right? We have this set to greater than 20. Everything has to be greater than 20. It's not going to show anything. If I put 21 in there, my output for everything is going to be shown. 50 stone, 21 solar, 100 cement concrete. If I set this to a specific item, let's say the stone, right? It's only going to show the stone output. So I can either have it show everything that's coming in, right, by setting this to everything, and it's going to show all of them. Or I can specify one of those. I can say maybe I want to say, you know, for instance, let's use our rocket stuff for instance. Suppose I want to have a rocket input come in, I want to have a capsule input come in, but I want it to tell it I have X amount of concrete. I can say, you know, I can have my rocket come in at 20 and my, you know, I can tell of all of these. Let's do this. We can tell it 1, right? So if this was coming in and it was actually the rocket, right, it would be 1 rocket, 1 this, but I could tell it to output how much concrete I have, right? I'm going to set this to concrete too so the light's on. So it wouldn't care that I have 1 rocket and 1 capsule. The only thing it's looking at anyway is the number of concrete. The other 2 are just enabling this to come on. So that's both the input and the output with the everything wildcard. Hope that makes sense. The next one is, let's get rid of this. The next one is the anything wildcard. It's if any of the input signals meet the condition, it will output true. So, and with that one we can have the everything wildcard as well, right? So we'll leave this at concrete greater than 1. Now, we're still at greater than, we want this to be 20, just because it's an easy one to manipulate. Right? If any of these is over 20, so we'll put 19 in each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, 19 there. There, and 19 there, right? So if any of these goes over 20, it will output. So 19, 20, 21, right? Remember before they all had to be over 20. Now if any of them is over 20, it'll output. And again, we can use that same everything wildcard. We can set it to an individual thing, or we can set it to show everything. But the difference, the only difference being that this is anything, which means any of these signals. And you can have umpteen signals. You can, I don't know what the limit on the input number is. You'd would have to go into the wiki and see if there's something that says you can only have 50 inputs. I don't know how many inputs you can have. But in this case, only one of them needs to be over that 20, right? Because it says anything. All right. The next one is where it gets kind of interesting. All right, so we'll turn that off. We'll set this to stone again, just because I like, you know, to use the stone. Now, if we set this to each, right? This changes. At that point, the only evaluation we get is each, right? We don't get the other, we don't get the everything wildcard. We only get an each wildcard, right? Evaluates the condition and performs the operation on all input signals, right? So if I have 19, right? So each one greater than 20, and we're going to output each, okay? And we're going to tell it to read the output count. Now right now we have nothing. If we go here and we add 2 more, right? You'll notice we have 21. Now we have a signal coming out, right? It's similar to, but not the same as, our anything, because anything doesn't care. Anything, if any one of them meets it, it'll send all of them through. Everything has to meet it. It'll only send it through if everything meets it. Anything, if any of them meets it, it'll send all of them through. Each is specific. So each has to be over 20, and it'll only send those if they're over 20. So this is over 21. The only one it's sending through is that. If I come down here and I go 20, 21, now we look, it's sending that through, but it's not sending that through. If you remember, on the any, it would send all 3 of them. This is only sending the ones that meet that condition. All right? So then if we go in here and we go 1, 2, now it is meeting that condition. It's going to send that one through. So that's what the wildcards do. Now, the same thing works on the output. Is that it will, if we say each for the output, it's going to give each of them if the condition is met, right? So we can either specify a symbol, or we can say each, and it'll output which one meets the condition. I hope that wasn't too confusing. The big thing to remember with this is basically everything has to meet the condition, which means they all have to match up. This one, any one of them will send all of them through. This one, each individual one will go through, but only if each individual one meets that condition. So that covers decider combinators. They're pretty simple. Beyond that, it's just your summation on your arithmetic. We're not going to get into what to use these for yet. We're going to go back, and next episode we're going to cover arithmetic combinators, which I don't have one in my inventory yet, but we're going to cover them next time. And they start getting into logic circuits and things like and, or, and NOR gates. So there it is. If this wasn't clear, leave me a note and tell me what was kind of confusing about it, and I'll go back and kind of try and straighten it out. I hope that helped everybody a little bit, and then once we get the other one out of the way, we'll start building some circuits with it. All right, you guys take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.